What up, everybody? You're now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, back today with another live stream, back talking more Jags. Can't get enough. What is day 6? I think it's day 6 for training camp. The pads came on the day. Calvin Ridley found out, which I'm sure he knew before, the Florida heat is real. You know, he left the field, and it's like everybody took a collective, you know, when they heard he left the field. I saw, Calvin Ridley left the field. Why he left the field? Just some heat exhaustion. We got, also, we'll talk about Sean Payton. Sean Payton running his mouth. He think he's still at Fox and being an analyst and speaking on his fellow coaches. I mean, what he really did was say the quiet part out loud because he did not lie in what he said. I mean, this, you know, he might have sensationalized it, but I don't think he lied. We're going to also talk about PJ Fleck, the head coach of Minnesota. He has former players throwing allegations at him. Not quite what happened at Northwestern, but, you know, it's along those lines. So we're going to talk about it all. But once again, I got my co-host with me today, Mr. Reid. How are you feeling today, sir?
Football season. That's how I feel, man. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like the season is around the corner, especially with those pads coming on the day at the Jaguars camp. So I'm feeling good, man. It's football season.
Yeah, man, football season. What is it? Not this Saturday, but next Saturday they play in Dallas, first preseason game. So I want Trevor out there for half a snap, and then go ahead and wrap him up in some bubble wrap the rest of the preseason. I don't need to see anything from him. You know, the main thing is keeping the guys healthy. Seen a few guys go down, from Joe Burrow to Jalen Ramsey. You know, and then we had a few guys here who kind of like limited practice and whatnot, and they can't practice or whatever. So, you know, hopefully they keep all of the guys healthy. But I am excited for this upcoming season. So, man, matter of fact, we're gonna start with the videos. Matter of fact, I found them. So we're gonna start with the video. I was listening to I know you know Nick Wright, you know, and he's been on the Trevor bandwagon for some time. You know, he started calling him the prince that was promised and all of that. You know, I like his shtick, it's pretty cool. But I think he said something in this top 100 of NFL quarterbacks on the NFL top 100 list. Thought it was pretty good. So let's check this out.
I want to give credibility to the list. But if you think Trevor Lawrence is the 14th best quarterback in football, then you're just not paying attention.
Right.
Trevor Lawrence last year from November on was number 2 in the league in passer rating, in touchdown interception ratio. The Jaguars went 7-2. Last year, despite only playing 2 playoff games, had more. No one other than Mahomes had more playoff touchdown passes. The guy who has been screaming his whole career, he's Peyton Manning 2.0, got his first playoff victory 4 years earlier into his career than Peyton did. Peyton, who had 3 consecutive bad playoff games to start his career. Trevor had 2 consecutive bad playoff quarters, then executed one of the 5 greatest postseason comebacks ever. I think Trevor Lawrence is one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football.
Yeah.
I think you can make an argument that there's Mahomes, there's Burrow, and then in the discussion for number 3, that Trevor is going to plant himself there this season. I know that's probably a little rich for most people's blood. That Jalen Hurts is right there. Obviously, people love Josh Allen and Justin Herbert. But 14th is outrageous. And I think Justin Fields one day might be good, and maybe that one day is this year. But having Justin Fields ahead of Trevor Lawrence, having those other guys on the list ahead of Trevor Lawrence is just indefensible, in my opinion. Well,
man, I am with him on that one. Now, the thing that he said that stuck out to me the most is something I have already said. I said on the show, I said to people when I'm talking about Trevor, there's only 2 quarterbacks I'm taking over Trevor Lawrence right now, if I had to choose. Number 1 is Patrick Mahomes, of course, easy. That's a layup. The number 2 is Joe Burrow. After that, man, it's Trevor for me. I mean, Lamar is right behind it. Like, if I couldn't get Patrick and I couldn't get Joe Burrow and Trevor wasn't available, Lamar is my next guy. But other than that, to me is Trevor. And this is going into the future, of course. Not saying that he's there right now, but that's the projection I have for him as well going into the future.
Let me give you an old sports writer secret, man. You know, the thing is, when you don't get, when you're about a week or two from camp, you can't get any interviews, everything's shut down, you're waiting on camp to open. The best thing you can write about is put out a list of the top players or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this is. I mean, do you really think that NFL players in the offseason really put any thought of who they're going to pick as the 100 top players in the league in the offseason or whenever they did this survey? I don't think so. I mean, I think if they did it like, okay, who's your top 10 quarterbacks, and did the same poll over going in, say, the week before the regular season, I think the whole voting will be different. And you got to commend NFL Network, because that's something that's been talked about for the last 2 weeks or whatever it's been. But it's come on, man. I don't think those guys really sit down and seriously pinpoint who's the top players. I think they put a name down who first comes to mind. I done heard everything from the Chicago quarterback. Oh yeah, well he gets along with more players in the league than Trevor because Trevor is married. I mean, I've heard everything. I mean,
oh my God, that is awful. That is a terrible take.
I heard everything. And all this is, top 100 preseason. I know, I mean, they do a good job with it. They get up. It serves its purpose for the NFL Network, but all it is discussion. I mean, all it is like, okay, let's have a debate. Okay. Truthfully, and we talked about it, I mean, there's no way in the world this guy should be ranked 96th best player in the league. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
I would even rank him 96 based on what happened after his rookie season, to be honest. But it's just I'm telling you a secret, man. The only way that those lists come out is everything is closed shop. Nobody is available. Yeah. Let's put out a story to get attention and let people talk about, get them ready for the season, get ready for training camp. And then you come out with a list. We used to do it at the Florida Times. You come out with, who your top 5 Jaguar players of all time and all that. And I don't take much heed to their top 100 list. I mean, it's a national scope. Yeah. It gets people talking. It gets you into the training camps. It gets you into football season. But ain't no way in hell Trevor Lawrence is the 96th best player out of that 100 list based on last year, even based on his rookie season. I mean,
yeah,
there's no way. There's no way.
No way. No way at all. So, yeah, let me get some of these comments. What up, Ness? Chris, Jakari, what's going on? You say, Nesco says, fellas, he said gave us a Duval. Man, I'm gonna fix these Facebook comments. This has been a bugaboo. I tried to fix them today, but it's all good. See, Chris say we Super Bowl bound. I saw that post, Chris. Chris say we're going to the Super Bowl for sure. Jakari say media hates Jacksonville. I mean, yeah, it's been proven time and time again. Jakari bias against Jacksonville. I don't know why it is such a irrational hate. Like, what did Jacksonville do to anybody? I don't understand. He said they had Mac Jones over Trev in the top 100. They had Mac Jones over. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Mediocre Mac Jones. I mean, hey, Mac Jones, Jacksonville kid, Bama kid, Roll Tide. That's my guy. But come on, mediocre Mac. Come on, man. Come on. Come on with that. They say Steelers rookie running back out for season with a torn labrum. Ouch. Yeah, that's ouch right there. Torn labrum. But yeah, it's I'm with you on that. And then we're gonna get this last video right here, and we're gonna talk about Jaguars training camp. What we've seen so far. Here we go.
I'm gonna come up with the name Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, first of all, let's get one thing out of the way and put the fellas up on the screen because I want to see the fellas when I'm making these comments, please. First of all, we need to understand something. There's nobody in the NFL that needs don't even apply for an endorsement deal with hair companies. There's nobody that can compete with Trevor Lawrence. Okay, he'll put most ladies to shame with his hair. I mean, my goodness, nobody can compete with him for the hair commercials other than Troy Polamalu, who's retired. Nobody. Okay, so he's got the hair commercials on lock. All right. But his game is elevating, and the Jacksonville Jaguars getting rid of Urban Meyer, who I respect profoundly as a collegiate head coach, no matter what happened to Jacksonville. But to bring in Doug Peterson last year, okay, they only went 9-8. They got into the postseason. I will remind everybody, forget simply that it was a 31-30 victory over the Los Angeles Chargers. Remember, they were down 27-0. Remember, Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions in the first half. It's in his first playoff performance. It's enough to demoralize any quarterback and send him into depression. I'm not joking about that for years to come, because that's something that's hard to overcome. He didn't overcome it the next season. He overcame it 15 minutes later after a halftime break and came out there and threw damn 4 touchdowns, okay, and spearheaded them to victory 31-30. He was absolutely spectacular in the second half. Now, don't get me wrong. Brandon Staley is lucky to have a job. If I was owner Spaniards of the Chargers, that brother wouldn't have, he would have had a coach seat in commercial. I wouldn't have allowed this behind on the team plane after blowing a damn 27-point lead in the playoffs. Okay, I'm telling you right now, he'd have got fired, and I wouldn't have bought him a plane ticket. I'm telling you right now, unless I was forced to. Okay, that's how ticked I would have been. But it doesn't take away from the greatness of Trevor Lawrence to be that young. Coming out of Clemson, number 1 overall pick, the expectations, 6'6" with that arm. When I think about Trevor Lawrence, I think about a Justin Herbert. I think about those kind of comparisons. And to show up in the playoffs and to outperform Justin Herbert in that second half, to be assisted by Doug Peterson, to look at his teammates have the faith in him that they have. I'm telling you right now, Trevor Lawrence is coming. We understand he's the number 1 overall pick, so you could say expectations, he's supposed to do this. Well, damn it, he did it. You don't see too many people overcoming a 27-point deficit in the first half, particularly when you were the one throwing 4 interceptions. And to make that kind of immediate turnaround in the same game and come back from that, I think that's a building element there, especially with Doug Peterson, a Super Bowl champion as a head coach of Philadelphia. Being his head coach right now, the name that comes to my mind is Trevor Lawrence. We're not talking enough about him. We need to.
Yeah, and with Jaguar fans, I'm sure you have to know now that no matter what, when Trevor Lawrence is on the field, no lead is safe. I mean, you have to have that confidence in him now, because I mean, how many times did they do it last year? I mean, what was it, 6, 7 comebacks last year? So now it's almost like an expectation. Dude, they down 20. They were down 27-0, and I seen the mic'd up of them on the sideline, and there was no panic, no fear. They just they was like, hey, there's no 27-point touchdowns. There's just, hey, one at a time. The defense is like, hey, no, Trevor, go out, play your game. We got you. I mean, from that point on, it's like, man, if they could do this, they have the potential to beat anybody, and Trevor Lawrence is a big reason why.
You know what, Brandon, I say this. I mean, to have Stephen A. knowledge is a good thing from a national standpoint.
Yeah.
Almost to the point that more he talk about the Jags and the more he talks about Trevor, it only can help the franchise from a national perspective. But you got to go out and win. That solidifies everything. But you know another thing, when you watch the videos that's going on in practice and you see the effortless way that he's throwing long bombs to the receivers out there. The one thing I can say about Trevor Lawrence from this year already, 1 week into practice, 1 week in the training camp, first day in full pads, is that he's making everything look routine. He's making difficult throws look routine. And when you got a quarterback that's throwing off his back foot and still throwing 40 yards wide open to Calvin Ridley, man, it don't take no more. All the stuff that Stephen A. talked about, that's last year. I think what you got to talk about now is that this kid is moving to the next phase of eloquence. He's moving into we're going to see things, I think, to be honest, with the firepower they have at wide receiver, the depth they got in the backfield. I think we're going to see things that we ain't never seen before in Jacksonville from Trevor. What that might mean, hey, that might mean they might score 40, they might have some 40-point games.
Yeah.
Or he might be passing 390 for over 350, 400-yard passing games. And this is just a glimpse. We can't, I'm not going to sit up there and talk about this the first day in pads. They've been in practice 6 days that, we're going to predict the Super Bowl championship and for the Jags. But, man, believe me, from a guy that watched these guys for the last few years and see what they're doing out there now, man, this team is taking the approach of training camp like a team with, you got 91 players, like a team with 89 of them veterans. They're doing everything that they need to do. And that's what you do to be a championship caliber team. Now there are some questions on the defensive side. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
We talked about this before the show. They got some holes I still think they got to plug in at that defensive front, but yeah. But you seen, I mean, people watching this show, people Jaguar fans, you seen those highlights, man. You've seen the throws that he's making, and you see, the thing is, why I think what we got to recognize is the coaching, number one, athleticism from the receivers and a big play, big arm quarterback. But it used to be a time where we didn't see wide receivers get in open spaces and make plays, even at practice. At practice.
Even at practice.
Now you see, and to be honest, I'm gonna be honest. I've seen a lot of that tape. I haven't been to their practice. Plan to go Saturday, but their Jaguars haven't had a route runner like Ridley. Yeah. I mean, it ain't just that he's moving quick; it's that he's moving precise, and he he got great hands and he's got great speed. But boy, he's one heck of a route runner. And we have not had anything like that on that roster, man. That's a resemblance of that.
Yeah. No. I think I mean, as far as route running is concerned, I mean, do you have to take it all the way back to Jimmy and Keenan?
Yeah, you might have to take it back to that, man. I used to say that. I mean, I say in the last, I know since 2017 they hadn't had it. The thing is, man, we used to be excited when we used to see Keelan Cole. Now just think about where we are now to where we was then, that we would be excited because Keelan Cole has made a catch over a third-string cornerback. Yeah. Or rookie, he made a whole lot of catches over a 7th-round pick in 2017. And we used to get excited about that. We watched the practice where the starting quarterback threw 5 picks in the first scrimmage.
Oh, man. Dude, they talked about that thing for about 3 weeks, man. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I would never forget that. And then on top of the 5 picks, supposedly Allen Robinson was pissed off. And he was like yelling expletives and getting mad because Blake was overthought. Man, I'll never forget that day, man. We've come a long way.
Yeah, we've come a long, 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 long way, And that's what you got to be excited for. You got to be excited to have this. I don't know too many times, to be honest, where you hear Stephen A. compliment the Jags or compliment a Jaguar player. I don't know if it's happened during any time other than maybe a little bit last season, but that's what we can look forward to. It's not just the season, it's the future. That's what's the difference is with this football team. It's not just the now. It's like, man, do you realize you got a quarterback that can be here for the next 10 years? And the only thing he's going to do is get better and better and better and better and better. And now, like we talk about, he's 96 ranked. I know Trevor Lawrence a little bit. Don't think that he hadn't seen that and he won't use that as motivation.
Absolutely.
And Jacksonville can thank the NFL Network and the players who probably took about 15 minutes to fill out that form on those players, that's going to motivate them.
Yeah.
But this football team know that they got a good football team, which is a good thing. They know they're good. They know they're good offensively. I don't know about defense, but they know they are good offensively. Even with questions on the offensive line, they know they can put the football in the end zone. And just because they're doing it in practice at the training camp, that's going to carry over.
Oh, yeah. Shoot, man.
If you don't put two people on Ridley, if he don't draw a double coverage, then, hey, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones.
Zay Jones has been amazing.
Yeah. You name the player. You name the player who's gonna shine. And I think Christian Kirk gonna be great just because he won't get double.
Yes. Yeah. I think teams should continue to put linebackers on Christian Kirk. It worked out well for you last year. But they're confident, man. I mean, you got your guy. I forgot. I don't know if it was Ingram or Kirk who said it's pick your poison. It's how you want to be hurt. Evan Ingram talked about it. Christian Kirk said the light is on for Trevor Lawrence. Like they know the offensively, they know they walking with the big stick. That's just what it is. I mean, they know that no matter where they go, no matter what environment they're in, they will be able to put up points on the board. I mean, that's just what it is. And like you said, this offense is, I think, will be top tier. I don't know about the defense, but the defense doesn't, because Rayshawn Jenkins, love Rayshawn to death, should have been a Pro Bowler last year. I don't know about this whole top five, Rayshawn said that he's talking about their goal. I guess they'll be a top five, or that's their goal, or that's what they're going to be. Again, don't know if it was guaranteed or what, but he mentioned being a top five defense, and that's cool. If they're a top five defense, we're talking Super Bowl. Let's be honest, but they don't have to be that. Like you don't have to be the Ravens. You don't have to be the Bears. You don't have to be any of those teams. All you have to do is turn the ball over. Turn the other offenses, turn the ball over. That's all you have to do. Takeaways, just like they did last year. Takeaways. Hey, you give up a bunch of yards a game, a score here and there, cool. It's whatever. But when you turn the ball, when they turn the ball to other team over and give the ball back to Trevor Lawrence, it's a recipe for success.
And we was talking about this, so I'm gonna say it now. When you watch these six, like I said, I hadn't been there, but I've seen the highlights. I've heard the chatter around town. When you know that you got it, you don't have to crank the engine up. You don't have to. It don't take 3 days to shine on the football field. Calvin Ridley, he's been shining from day one. Trevor, shining day one. ETN, shining day one.
Yes.
Christian Kirk, shining day one. I like Trevon Walker, okay? I like him. I mean, I appreciate getting that jersey from the pastor. I'm aware number 44.
Yeah.
We 1 day in the pads and we 6 days in the camp. And there ain't been no big moments from this kid.
Yeah.
Like I say, when you good, you don't have to wind the engine. It's time for him to be good. It's time to make some splash plays. It's time to get to the quarterback. It's time to win not one battle, but win like 5 or 4, win 4 to 5 battles when you go up against the offensive lineman. You know, it's time to deflect the pass, and it's time to, hey, whatever we're doing, we're not getting, you know, he can't be stopped to getting to the quarterback. Because I'll say this for the Jaguars. You're going to have, and we said this earlier, you're going to have to put Mr. Walker in the best possible position to make him be a standout player. If his best strength is inside, stopping the run, and working on his pass rush as an inside rusher, let him play that position. If his best position that you think is the coaching staff, and it goes on Mike Caldwell, the defensive coordinator, whoever, his position coach, if you think his best spot is that his athleticism gives you strength on the outside, and you feel that he can develop into that pass rush and getting around the edge, then you got to spend it. I think one of the problems is he's got so much to learn as an edge rusher, from his hands, from the spin moves to whatever. That's not a part-time job. You know, you either put him there as a full-time player so he can develop those skills day to day, keep him on the inside where he played most of his strength was at Georgia was on the inside. But you can't, you know, we don't want to go back on history here. And we go back to history, and you putting guys at different spots, and they're not good in none of those spots. They not great. They may be serviceable, but not great.
Yeah.
When you draft the number 1 overall pick, they go. That accelerates everything. You know, he can't go out there and lose 3 of the 4 reps to walk a little. That's not acceptable. And I know it's the first day, and he's gonna have plenty more days, but put the effort into making this kid what he's, because once he loses confidence, he loses his confidence, and we don't want him to lose his confidence. Yeah. And if you need to go out and get another veteran edge rusher, defensive lineman, if you need to go out and get Yannick, get him. You got the money. Get him. Don't wait till we start out. You know, we got to start off fast, but don't wait till you have to go get him. Get him now, so you can give time to develop into the system. But don't wait if you know that's one, because you don't have many weaknesses on this team. But don't put so much confidence in your talent that don't make you think that you can't go add another piece to make you that much stronger. And that's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Because the offense and the offensive line is ahead of the defensive front. And that normally doesn't happen at the start of training camp. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Let me get some of these comments. Nets say 14-3. I said it first. Super Bowl championships, market. I say Chris. I say I'm looking forward to seeing Devin Lloyd in year 2. Yeah, I'm looking forward to him too. Mike Caldwell talked about basically positionless football and how you're gonna have guys playing all over the formation and being able to attack and coming from any and everywhere. And I think that is key. And he talked about being able to play their game and, you know, kind of dictate things. And yeah, that's the next step that they need to take. But it does start with them getting this pass rush situated. Like, they have to be able to rush the passer. If they can't do anything else, they need to be able to rush the passer, because you're not going to stop anybody if you can't rush the passer. It's just what it is. It said Nesse really could give us a 200-yard receiving game this season, something we haven't seen since Justin Blackmon. Justin Blackmon, oh man. I was watching some Justin Blackmon highlights the other night, man. Go back and watch his highlights at Oklahoma State. You're just, man, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love that announcer. Pistols firing, touchdown, Oklahoma State. I love it. Absolutely love it. That's all you hear. Pistols firing. Justin Blackmon. He say, Ness say, thank God for Doug Peterson. Thank God for Doug Peterson. Chris said, I like the high bar from all of them. Remember, we had a QB that said he's not a natural thrower of the football. We're a long way from that bar. Oh, Chris, you had I remember that. You want to hurt me, Chris. You want to y'all just want to hurt me. He brought up Justin Blackmon. Now you bringing up Blake talking about he not a natural thrower of the football. Oh my God. Oh, that's rough times, man.
After his 5-pick performance,
right? He sounded worse than Big Ben after they beat Big Ben head in up in Pittsburgh, and he talking about maybe he ain't got it no more. He should retire. Like nobody want to hear that, man. Go play football. Let's see, Nessie, I've heard.
I say, don't it feel good though, man, that these guys got weapons on the roster?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
I mean,
yeah. See, Nessie, I've heard Lloyd name and Campbell and Cisco. I agree, Uncle John. Haven't heard Walker's name at all. They should line Walker up next to Allen, which was Calais' old spot, and let him eat. This will free up Josh Allen. Yeah,
they got to do something. And I don't want to be, man. We in our first week of training camp, basically, first day full pads. So I don't want to overstate. But as I said, it shouldn't take a number one pick a couple of days go in the week to rev his engine up. As I say, like you don't crank up a number one draft pick, number one overall pick draft. He shouldn't be cranked up to shine, And to be honest, and not to say him, Josh Allen, those guys gotta shine. I mean, they gotta go out and perform, and they gotta perform at a high level. And you do it right now. That's all you got. You got training camp practices. This is the time to shine. Another thing, I look at a guy like Tyson Campbell. He's a perfect example. Tyson Campbell say, okay, I want to get great. So how do I go out and get great? I go out and get matchups with Calvin Ridley, and I want as much work as I can covering the best guy on the field. Whether I get beat, whether I win the battle, but I'm going all out. And I'm going to perform, and I'm still shining. And that's what Walker has to do.
Yeah.
Walker should just say, look, whoever the best lineman, pick them, work with them every day, and enhance his game. And that's what it takes. You got to get, there's no cliche, you got to get better every day.
Yes, you have to get better every single day. And I'm sure that's what Doug Peterson is preaching currently as well. Let's see, I'm trying to think of some. Heard that is it Antonio Johnson, the rookie from Texas A&M? Heard he had a really good day today. So, see somebody on Twitter say, all right, I've seen enough. Put him in the slot, put him at nickel. He's like, that's it. I don't need to see anymore. I'm sold. He's won the nickel spot.
On Trey Herndon?
Not only him. Oh, yeah, Trey Herndon. Man, and Chris Claybrooks, I mean, and understandably so, is Calvin Ridley, is Zay Jones. But, man, he has been on the other end of some spectacular catches. Like, I mean, guys have been making plays on Chris Claybrooks. I mean, it is what it is. But I expect them to make those plays on Chris Claybrooks. I mean, it's just what it is. But yeah, first day in pads. You know, I wouldn't be too worried, especially about the defense, because only thing that I would say the only thing is I'm curious about is how they're going to use Trayvon and how they're going to use Devin Lloyd and Muma. Yeah. Like, how are you going to use these guys? We're not going to see that until the regular season. At no point are you going to see them really go into that in depth. Even in training camp, really, they'll do it a little bit, but it's not going to be a whole lot. It's going to be during the games, but we shall see. And Ness say that man-child Jalen Carter is eating in practice already. Oh, you think? I knew that. I definitely would have known that. I hadn't heard about him. I'm gonna have to go check out what's been said about him, but Jalen Carter is a man-child. Like, let's call it what it is. Like, dude he's really good. So, but yeah. But any other thoughts you want to you have on training camp before we move on?
Yeah, just a couple of things. Just looking down, you know, Antoine Harrison. Antoine Harrison.
Yeah,
shoulder hadn't looked particularly good. You know, even though he got the shoulder situation, but he got quick feet. But I think he's got to understand that it's a physical game, man. You gotta step up that physical play immediately, even if it's you walking around with helmets and shorts on. You still gotta be physical. It's a physical game, and Oklahoma produced good offensive linemen, but man, he's got to understand, boy, he's got a lot riding on him. And there's still, the debate is on, when Cam come back, what are they going to do? Is he going to play guard? I think Doug said that he's going to get some reps at left guard. So that'll be interesting. I mean, I think if Walker Little, they got a situation, but I think you got to go out and put the best five. I think, there's no long debate. You just put your best five linemen on the field. We do live in an age now where positions are positions, man. You just, I don't know if, just put your best. It's hard for me to say if Walker Little's playing good after, 4 games.
Oh, you
okay, we're going to move you away from left tackle and put you at left guard. Or we got a rookie that's struggling at right tackle. So I think you got to go with what you got until he comes back. Work. If you need to work him at both positions, work him. I mean, this is not the fault of the Jags. This is the fault of Cam. So work him at both positions. Let's go and work to make that combination best on that offensive line. What are you going to do to protect your quarterback? Utilize that. It shouldn't, at this point, it shouldn't be ego. It shouldn't be, because it was that situation a few years back when this discussion came up in, I think, 2018, and I know it came up in 2019, where they asked Cam about what was his feelings about moving the guard, and they also asked him during Urban when they drafted Walker Little. And obviously he wasn't in favor of that. He said that publicly. But when you in the position that you are in now, where it's just, man, it's about winning football. It ain't about ego and personal preference. It's about what's the best offensive line unit that we can put on the field that get us through the playoffs and wherever that takes us. And if you got to make a sacrifice, which I think Cam might have to make that sacrifice, I think he might have to move. I think they're probably thinking about if Walker Little plays well during the time that Cam is out. I just don't see them moving him for the sake of Cam, but they want Cam on the field. And I think, hey, put your best guy on the field. If he needs to play guard, play him at guard. Just my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, the hope for the Jaguars right now, this the best case scenario for them. This is what I'm sure they want to happen. They want both tackles to play well and not be not having to move them. So whether it's Harrison or Little, like they want both of them to be at left tackle, right tackle, and when Cam Robinson comes back, they're playing so well. Like, well, Cam, we got to work you in that guard somewhere. I'm sure that's what they hope, especially Walker Little at left tackle going forward. You don't want Walker Little moving from that spot at least for the next couple of years. Like you want Walker Little to take that position and go into the future with it. And Harrison too at right tackle.
Yeah, that's the future. So go with the future, but man, just go with whatever gonna put you in the best situation to win in December, January, and maybe on to February. And if you're a football player, you can't make that sacrifice for the sake of the team, then maybe your future is not in Jacksonville.
Maybe the future is not in Jacksonville. All right, Ness say to my our backup QB is hot garbage. Beathard ain't hot garbage, man. Come on. Beathard can manage a game. Don't be like that about Beathard, man. CJ can manage a game at least.
Well, we'll just hope he managed. We'll just hope he be a great MVP for the preseason. Because I don't want to see a Beathard or anybody other than Trevor.
I want to see him none.
So let's hope he be an MVP for the preseason. Going into Dallas, I hope he throw for 300 yards against Dallas.
Yeah,
have a highlight. Have all his highlights during the preseason.
Shoot, this year I want CJ Beathard to be so clean he'll have to take showers after the game. Like that's what I want.
Hey man, I don't even want to see Trevor Lawrence take a snap during the preseason. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't want him
I don't need to see it. I really.
Maybe the last preseason game, get a series in, but come on, man. We see enough at practice. He's good.
Yeah.
He dropped that 50-yard pass to Jamal Agnew. When that was? That was Sunday. I don't need to see no more.
Don't need to see anymore. But man, we're gonna
leave it. See that against the Colts.
Yeah. So we're gonna leave it right there. We're gonna move on. We're gonna stay in football, of course, and NFL. We're gonna talk Jonathan Taylor, the Colts running back, requested a trade, and Jim Irsay playing hardball already. Like he's like, at no point are we trading Jonathan Taylor. I mean, I don't understand when ownership does that. Like. Jonathan Taylor made a trade request. You guys are far apart as far as your negotiation for him a new contract, and he wants out. And you come out publicly to say, at no time we'll be trading Jonathan Taylor. You don't need to say that. Why would you even do that? Because when you trade him, you're gonna look stupid. You're gonna look like you got egg on your face. Because we all know, regardless of what control you have over Jonathan, you own the rights to him as far as his contract is concerned, and you can still franchise him for another 2 years or whatever. Yeah, we got it. You got him tied up. But if he flat out refuses to play for you and don't want to be there, you're going to have to trade him. So that whole, I guess, you trying to flex your muscle like, I'm the boss here, and if I say it ain't going down. Really? Okay, well, I don't have to work, boss. I mean, if that's the case. But apparently, I don't know how true it is, but Jonathan Taylor was seeking like $16 million a year. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, well, I understand why they're far apart. And I understand why he wanted a trade request. But Jim Irsay ain't paying that to no running back.
Yeah. The thing about Irsay, nobody upstages Jim Irsay. Look at the from the bus that he rides to the practice to just his personality. You don't know what you're going to get when he speaks. And I think it was more the Jim Irsay's show overshadows that their top running back want to be elsewhere. So, and then I think Jim Irsay also is good as being probably one of the most shrewdest, stubborn, it's going to be done my way, no other way type of owner in the league. And I think they're in a chess match or whatever, chess, checkers or whatever going on. And I just think it done become a public spat. Even the coach could even put it to the fact that they hit under the belt and deactivate them so they won't have to pay them. So I don't think there's going to be a happy ending to this story, man. I think, too much has been said. They had their meeting in his van or bus or whatever, the Colts bus, and Lord knows what might have been said in that bus meeting.
There's no telling what was said.
Yeah, I think some feelings got hurt. And
it was after that meeting he requested the trade, so you can put 2 and 2 together.
And then he just come out to say, like, man, that comment from Irsay just basically just telling them, man, we can move on without you.
Basically.
So I think that's something that's out of all of this, I think that might have the most impact on him not coming back when he went out and publicly said stuff like that, man. So, but you know what, man, we in Jacksonville, they in Indy, and they're having problems, and we're down here in Jacksonville, and they're putting up 40 points in practices, and it's good to see the other shoe, man. It's good to see that the problems is elsewhere because it hadn't always been like that, particularly when you're talking about comparing Jacksonville and Indy and everything smoothly running around the rest of the conference. And then you got fireworks up there, and they just so happen to be the first team on the schedule. So,
and Jonathan Taylor, and I feel for him. This is one of the worst times he could have been a running back. I mean, it's just what it is. I mean, he really doesn't have a ton of leverage other than sitting out, not playing. But as far as getting paid is concerned, I mean, they say next year's running back market for free agency is going to be saturated. So you trade for him, you're looking at a 1-year rental, and who's going to pay him after that? When I could just go pick up another running back, a younger back, or I can go draft a back. I mean, who's going to pay top price for a running back today? I just don't see it.
Yeah, me either. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is a great running back, but look here, he's never going to get $16 million a year at that position. That's just not going to happen. And then we talk about, I mean, when you talk about salaries, and we talked about this a little bit last week, boy, it's just unbelievable. And there's no knock on quarterbacks, believe me. I mean, they earn their keep, they earn their money. When you're good, you deserve what you earn. But boy, you're talking about quarterbacks making over 50-something million a year. And then we have the debate about where all the money going. Where it's going to the quarterbacks. Because the running backs is never going to get 60. If he's asking for $16 million, man, they may have to bring back Gale Sayers and a couple others, and they may have to rush for 200 yards a game, and they still may not earn $16 million. So them days are gone. You should have been any young running back. You missed the pay. You done missed the payday.
Hey, young running back
in the 70s and the 80s because it ain't happening no more. Play wide receiver. It ain't happening.
Hey, young running backs, develop your hands. That's first and foremost. If you're going to play running back, you got to be able to catch the football. It's not an option anymore. You have to be able to catch the football, especially if you want longevity in the league. Also, hey, DB. Hey, if you could play some DB, if you could flip and turn them hips, DB. If you could play some linebacker, play some linebacker. But running back is not the position. I mean, if you just look at it from the fullback perspective, what is it? 3 fullbacks in the league. You got Juszczyk, Ricard in Baltimore, and I think 1 or 2 other fullbacks in the league, if I'm not mistaken. I can't even think of them off the top of my head. Those are only 2. But they're gone. They're essentially fullbacks are essentially obsolete. And now running back is going to become that. Before you know it, every team going to be lining up throwing the football. And you'll rarely see a handoff.
They're just going to take the running back position and put them in the slot.
That's it.
If they hadn't already done it, that's what they're doing. Well, half of the team, more than half the team, they don't even put them back. They just, spread offense. The only person back there is the quarterback and shotgun. So it is what it is, man. I thought I would never see the day that the running back become non-essential, but hey, man, you cannot rest on your laurels. Everything changed in life. You can't be stagnant. And I think that's what's done happen. I mean, the game has changed. And I agree with what you said, man. Any young kid out there, I know some situations in high school you may not have a choice, but if you on Pop Warner teams, you better make sure you out there catching some passes and hone your skills as a pass catcher, because the game has changed, man. And I think even in Pop Warner, it may not even be running backs. When you used to play youth football, that's all it was. Get the ball all to the running back and move out the way and let them run. I don't even think they do that no more. So everything is changing, man, even in the Pop Warner League. So it's because of us. It's because of the fans, man. We don't want to sit there, watch 4 quarters, and watch a running back get 30 carries. That don't do it for us no more.
Nope. Points.
Yep, you go points on the board.
Touchdown.
We don't want to watch Earl Campbell no more. Or none of those guys getting 25 carries a game. Them days over with.
Shoot. If you say 3 yards in a cloud of dust to anybody under 30 years old, they're gonna be like,
"Oh man,
what does that mean? You gonna run for 3 yards and it'll be a cloud of dust?" Yeah, that's exactly what it is. 3 yards in a cloud of dust, man. Those days are over, man. It's crazy to see.
Yeah, man. RPOs and all that's going on now. If you're a running back, you might want to be a quarterback.
Might as well
want to try quarterback, especially when they're making $52 million and above.
Yep, absolutely.
That's the life.
We're gonna leave it right there. And Ness say, "Hey, Indy, sorry, not sorry." Chris say, "I'm pretty sure they enjoyed our SHIT show down here. I'm just here with the popcorn." Yeah, it feels good to be somebody else for once. And Ness say, remember the name Garrett Prince, rookie tight end who has the speed of a wide receiver and a tight end body and the shining. Garrett Prince has been lighting it up, Ness. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, people, keep your eye on Garrett Prince. For sure, man. But we're gonna stay in football. Yeah, he's been doing really good. So we're gonna move on. Stay in football. We talk about Broncos head coach Sean Payton and some remarks he made regarding former Broncos head coach and now current offensive coordinator for the New York Jets, Nathaniel Hackett. And it says Jets Nathaniel Hackett, Sean Payton broke code with comments. So they're saying he violated the coach's code. The stuff, there's certain things you don't say and certain things you don't do, and things that what's understood don't need to be explained. Those types of things. It's unwritten stuff that you just don't do. And they're right. Sean Payton shouldn't have. He basically said that Nathaniel Hackett, that was one of the worst coaching jobs he's ever seen. And while that is not a lie, You may be sensationalized it. Probably about that much. It was terrible. It was pretty bad. They were doing. I know the Mannings have that game cast where they comment on the game as the game going on. They had Shannon Sharp on there, and man, they were tearing Nathaniel Hackett apart. His time management, his play calling, this was just not Nathaniel Hackett's time. Now, could he be a good head coach in the future? Who knows? But that situation, for whatever reason, don't know. He maybe had issues with Russ, issues with management, ownership, whatever. Don't know, or just ill prepared. But it was not a good showing for Nathaniel. It's a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit of this article. It says, without mentioning Sean Payton by name, New York Jets offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett responded Tuesday to Payton's scathing criticism, saying the comments about his coaching performance last season violated an unwritten code. Hackett said he wasn't surprised by Payton's remarks, claiming his Denver Broncos successor has been blasting him publicly for a year. He said, obviously, the last week has been a very unique week for this organization, Hackett said. I've been involved in this business my whole life, 43 years. As a coach and as a coach's kid, we live in a glass house. We know that. We all live in different rooms. We all have a key for it. It's one of those things. There's a code. There's a way things are done in that house. This past week is frustrating and it sucks, but we're all susceptible to it. The things you do, the mistakes you make, it costs you time on the field. It costs you your job, all those things. And I own all that stuff. That's a fact. I've got no excuses. Payton created national headlines last week telling USA Today that Hackett's 15-game run with the Broncos last season was one of the worst coaching jobs in history of the NFL, that there were 20 dirty hands around quarterback Russell Wilson. Payton said he had made a mistake, saying he planned to call Hackett and Jets coach Robert Saleh to apologize. Hackett said he hasn't received an apology from Payton, adding that he doesn't expect Payton to follow through on his promise. Asked if he believes Payton broke the code of coaching fraternity, Hackett said, I do. He said the criticism was very expected. You knew it was going to happen. You knew he was going to handle it that way at some point. That's how it was going all last year. Payton, who had worked as Fox Sports studio analyst last season after 15 years as a coach of New Orleans Saints, was critical of the Broncos. He ripped them for allowing Wilson to have a private coach in his own office at the team facility. That was not a good look. Payton also jabbed them for disciplinary issues and clock management problems. Clock management, he was terrible. Hackett was fired with a 4-11 record as Wilson suffered the worst statistical season of his career. New ownership hired Payton to resurrect the franchise. Jets face the Broncos October 8th in Denver. What's your thoughts on this? It's funny to me.
Well, let me say this. I'm not a Sean Payton fan at all. I was in New Orleans, and yeah. I think one of the things about him is that he tries to belittle. I mean, I know, there's always not going to be a great relationship between head coach and media, but in his early years in New Orleans, I just felt he tried to intimidate reporters. It's like he would send you a nasty email and just, I don't know. It just seemed like he was always mean-spirited. It just seems like he just never trusted no one. He always spoke his mind, but it just seemed like he always tested your football knowledge when you asked a football question, and then he would belittle you, to shut you up, that type of thing. And we all know that Hackett Broncos were a bad football team. I mean, that team was bad. Yes. That you can put blame on everyone who wore the jersey. And everyone put on a coach's polo shirt and went out there each for 17 weeks and went out there last season and basically embarrassed the franchise and they were bad, man. It is no, but that's not for him to say. That's for us to say. That's why we have shows like this. That's why, the media, even if he was back with Fox, he had every right to criticize Hackett for that performance and of that team. But when you trade your mic for a whistle, and karma is a real thing in the NFL, I remember his teams back in New Orleans. Go back and watch some of his 7 and 9 teams where the guy, and I tweeted this, that the guy was in perfect coverage. The last play of the game, like three, I think they lost 3 games in one of those 7-9 seasons where they got beat on a Hail Mary pass because the guy never looked up for the ball. I know that do you blame the head coach on that, or do you blame the defensive coordinator or the secondary coach? So blame go around when you have a bad record, bad football team. It ain't just it's gonna fall on the head coach, but that don't necessarily mean the head coach don't know what the hell he's doing. And when you say statements like that, hey, Sean Payton, you can go out there, and I know you're banking on Russell Wilson, but whether or not Russell Wilson didn't have a good year, he didn't have a good season. I know there might have been reasons, might have been Hackett, might have was a season, but Hackett wasn't on the field when he throwing interceptions or losing the ball on a scramble or just looking like he just done lost everything and shouldn't be on the field. So I don't agree. As a former media person, you want to get good copy. You want to have the coach to say some stuff that you don't expect to say, but you're also going to be, if you cover Denver, then you're going to also be writing about they got beat handily and how did he handle that loss. So the NFL is karma, and I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of Sean Payton. I mean, bottom line, I'm not. I just don't think that's something that you do. You let bygones be bygones. I mean, the guy picked up himself, got another offensive coordinator job, and now it's Sean Payton's job to turn that program around. There's a lot of things you can say indirectly to show that they had a bad season, but I just don't think you throw the coach under the bus. And then you got to turn around in week 5 or week 6, and then you got to play the Jets. And I mean, come on, man. You got enough fires that you got to extinguish with this Denver team. You done had 2 major injuries at training camp. We don't know if the Russell Wilson is going to be back from what we know of Russell Wilson when he played for Seattle. So there's a lot of questions. And, one of the guys from New Orleans said, well, he's just trying to take the pressure off of Russell and the team. Well, if you got to rely on that, and you got to throw another man to the bus to get your team motivated, then what kind of coach are you? I mean, I just leave it at that. But I'm not a Sean Payton fan.
Well, there it is. Yeah. He shouldn't have said it. I mean, I'm sure he regrets it, especially saying it in the public forum, and now it's out there. And Robert Saleh jumped on and defended him, and Aaron Rodgers has come out and defended Nathaniel Hackett. Hey, that's their guy. Of course, that's what you want them to do. But we'll see how it plays out for Sean Payton, because you're right, karma is real. But right now he got to deal with Mr. Unlimited, Russell Wilson. Yeah. And I don't know, man. I'm going to give Russell a bit of a pass, just a small pass, because Nathaniel Hackett, it was a bad coaching job. It is what it is. But now that excuse is gone. And now you're going to find out whether it was Nathaniel Hackett or it really is Russell Wilson. But Russell Wilson had nothing to do with horrible clock management. It amazes me, Mr. Reid. These coaches, you're on the professional level, and you still have issues managing the clock. If that's not your forte, you can hire someone. Their sole job is to watch the clock and know when it's situational football and what to do in those situations to remind you or whatever. Have somebody, that's their job. Watch the clock for clock management if you can't do it. because he was awful at it last year.
Yeah, he was. He was. And it wasn't a good hire. I mean, we could say that legitimately.
Yeah.
I thought they could have got probably about 10 different coaches that would have been better than Hackett. I also thought that they hired him thinking that they would get the quarterback. You know, they would get
I was just you said it. That's it. We're gonna leave it right there. We're gonna drop it and leave it alone. He just said it. He got the job because they thought they were going to get Aaron Rodgers. It's just that's what it is. You know, so it is what it is. Now, had he got Aaron Rodgers, who knows? He definitely still be the head coach of the Broncos right now. They would have had a better season
no question.
Last year. No question about that. So, you know, it is what it is. But we are going to move on from there.
But you know, one more thing though, Brandon. One more thing.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. The Denver Broncos play Kansas City. I don't know what week that is. I want to see if they get blowed out, what kind of criticism that Sean Payton is going to accept. If they get blowed out by Kansas City. I want to know what kind of criticism he's going to accept, because that game can get ugly, and it's probably going to get ugly.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, it absolutely
and that's what you call karma. That's what you, because everybody in the NFL got friends. And Andy Reid might be friends with Hackett.
Could be.
So, we'll see. I'll be watching that game.
We shall see. But we're going to leave it right there. And we're going to move on. We're going to a little bit of college football. Then we're going to get up out of here. But Minnesota head coach PJ Fleck defends program against allegations he calls baseless. Now, we talked about this like a couple weeks ago. If you haven't seen it, a couple weeks ago, I did a show on Northwestern and talked about Northwestern and their issues with hazing and them firing their head coach. And I mean, it's a very graphic, the things that went on there, but it is worth the listen. So go check that out. I said that because of stuff like that, this could open the floodgates. Because there are a lot. The NCAA has employed tons of people. A lot of players that played in the NCAA as far as sports in general, and then plenty of coaches, assistants, graduate assistants, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of players, coaches, personnel, upon millions have been a part of the NCAA. So, with that being said, I think that Northwestern wasn't an isolated incident. I think that some of these things are going on in other parts of the country, and it's only going to be only going to be so long before it comes to light. But it also opens the door for false allegations as well, and so you're going to have to have discernment on what you see and what's being alleged against somebody because of false allegations, because of hurt feelings, because of people who got fired or who got kicked off the team because, you know, they didn't do what they were supposed to do. Now they're pissed off, so they want to hurl accusations and allegations at someone unfairly, you know. So I'm not saying that that's the case for Minnesota coach PJ Fleck and their program, but it is something to think about. So it says Minnesota coach PJ Fleck brushed off allegations that he runs a toxic program on Thursday, saying they mostly come from players and employees who have been dismissed or departed on their own. These allegations are baseless. We have full support of our athletic director, Mark Coyle, and our university leadership. This is a similar story that gets peddled every single year, and the majority of the players have been dismissed or removed from our football team. Multiple former players and employees have been quoted anonymously in reports, including Front Office Sports, examining the program's culture, including an accusation that Fleck has interfered with medical protocols to get injured players to return earlier than anticipated. We also have around a half a dozen anonymous reporting avenues within our football program that players can go to if they have an issue, Fleck said. And our athletic director, Mark Coyle, gives his cell phone number to every single football player to call him if they have any issues. To this date, there have been 0 claims on this issue. 0. Fleck said he knows where most of the complaints have originated. Say, oh, absolutely. Players talk. Players have a lot of pride in what and how we do it. Sometimes the negative voices are the loudest voices. Look at our team's response that's going through that culture and that program right now. You've got to make some really hard decisions. You stand firm on what you believe in. You're transparent as you could possibly be. Our administration, they know what we do and how we do it. They're there all the time. So Fleck is entering his 7th season with the Gophers. He's 44-27 with the 4 bowl victories. My energy needs to be on the 2023 football team and that only, and not the baseless allegations, he said. I mean, and I'm with him. I mean, presuming that, these things are baseless and it's people butt hurt and they're just upset because they feel like they got a raw end of the deal and, they, want to ruin it or whatever. But I'm totally with him on. He's like, hey, I run a transparent program. Our administration knows what the deal is. Our athletic director knows what it is. We've had 0 issues. And he said, I know exactly where this stuff is originated from. So it sounds like a man who has a handle on things, but that doesn't tell me that nothing went on.
Yeah. I'll say this quickly. When you get former players talking, it's almost to the point of how many. And if you get enough of them chirping about the same thing, usually 9 times out of 10, something happened. One of the reports was that he used a point system for discipline. You had to accumulate a certain amount of points. And if you you can circumvent the rule. Like if you if you had 1 violation and another player had 4 and he was a star player, then maybe he didn't have to go through punishment, but the second string running back had to go through punishment under his discipline system. So who knows? I mean, I'm almost to the point that if you go to any college program in the country, you're always going to find players that wasn't happy. Yes. You're always going to find some, and I say this, I know we live in a different world than what it was 20 years ago, but it's hard to say that a football coach in college ran an undisciplined program if he, as a disciplinary situation, he had those players run extra laps or did something extra at practice. Personally, I don't consider that hazing, but
right.
I like I say, we live in a different era than where I grew up in. So, I don't know, man. I don't know what the rules and the checks and the balances is now compared to what it was in my time back in the daytime. So, but it's hard for me to even fathom that if my son was at a college and he's criticizing the program because he had to run some extra laps, that's when I'm going to hang up the phone. Say,
So, absolutely. I'm like, hey, Junior, with this BS, get off my phone. Matter of fact, coach, make him run double the laps you're gonna make him run for calling me with this right here. Like, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, come on, man.
Absolutely, though. But but this is the thing about stuff like this is that no matter what, even if you go over this program with a fine-tooth comb, this puts a stain on them a little bit. It does. You have zero evidence of anything going on so far. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen anything. Nothing has come to light. And you better believe if somebody got a smoking gun, we're going to see it eventually. But even if nothing is found, this still puts a stain on the program. It still puts in the back of people's mind that PJ Fleck possibly isn't running the tight ship. He's possibly running a toxic program. That's what allegations do, because there are always going to be people that are going to believe it no matter what.
There's a lot of mamas out there listening and reading the sports page too. And they're not going to send their kids when you got negative publicity coming out about hazing and stuff at these programs. So, You have to win mom over in the recruiting war. So, and don't doubt for a second that schools throw mud on each other too. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna leave it right there. And then say, what does this talk about the ACC conference being no more? I gotta look at that more. Ness, I've heard about it. I haven't really looked at the details about what they're trying to do, what's the plan, and what it may be. So haven't really did any research on it. Just heard about it. He said, "Oh, we talked about that. I think last week we talked about it." He said, FAMU canceling football activity due to a rap video. I think we did talk about that last week, and how it was just stupid. It was stupidness. Yeah, I talked about it. Go check it out. Last week we talked about it. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, initially I thought he shot it in the stadium or something like that, but no, he's in the locker room with players around him, and they have on team gear, and the university found out after it was posted on social media. They didn't even know it happened. So come on, man. Like, come on. This HBCUs don't need any more pub like that, man. You got enough. Negative. You have enough.
You got
too much negative.
Too much negative. Another thing, man. I cannot believe that UCLA and USC gonna be in the Big Ten conference. I mean, come on, man.
It's crazy, ain't it? Shoot, Texas and Oklahoma. Yeah, in the SEC. I mean, we already know what them games gonna be. Them games gonna be 45-50. They don't play no defense. Oh man.
I don't know what's going on with college football. I hope Deion win in Colorado though. I'm rooting for Deion.
I hope so too.
I'm rooting for Deion Sanders and Colorado. I'm gonna get me a Colorado cap or hat or something.
Yeah. And remember when we talked about these players gambling and getting in trouble? I think it was a Broncos defensive end got suspended. I think it was like 2 weeks ago or like a week and a half ago. I just saw, and then on my phone just came up Hunter Deckers linked to Iowa State gambling probe charged with tampering. So Iowa State quarterback Hunter Deckers has been accused of gambling on Cyclone Sports, including a football game, and was charged Tuesday with tampering with records related to an Iowa Criminal Division investigation into sports gambling. It's coming. I told you it's coming. Yeah. Gambling is more. You're going to see more stories like this. I'm telling you, these kids are gambling on these games, and they're not being very smart about it at all, because you're hearing about how they're getting caught. They're not being very smart about it. So you're going to see more of this in the future. I'm telling you.
Yes, we are. Get ready for it.
Get ready.
It ain't going.
Hope it ain't your guy.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah. I hope it ain't none of our guys, man. But we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on all of my social medias. Follow Mr. Reid on Twitter. Thank you to everyone who watched today for letting me be a part of your day. Hey, give me a like, give me a comment. It's free. I appreciate you. But until next time, catch you guys later, man.
Peace out at the barbershop. We'll put it on Twitter.
For sure.